Have you ever wondered what secrets are hiding in the most ordinary places? Tonight, I'm going to take you inside the Dallas Central Library, where a quiet night shift turned into a mystery that could change everything. This is a story about trust, danger, and a secret that's been locked away for decades. If you think libraries are just shelves of books, think again. What happened in Room 7, or rather, the hidden vault behind it, will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about ordinary places. Rachel Moore was 28, exhausted from juggling 2 jobs, and just hoping to make it through the night shift without incident. The Dallas Central Library, with its towering shelves, historic manuscripts, and quiet corridors, had always been her sanctuary in a city that never slept. On this particular night, the air smelled faintly of old paper and polished wood. The security cameras hummed quietly, and the occasional squeak of her sneakers against the hardwood floors was the only sound in the otherwise silent building. Her shift was supposed to be routine: check the doors, patrol the aisles, and ensure no one sneaked in after hours. But as she passed the map archives and the genealogy section, something caught her eye. A door she had never noticed before, tucked between the shelves like it was trying to hide. No label, no signage, just an old wooden frame with a brass handle that gleamed even in the dim light. It was slightly ajar, and dust had settled in a way that suggested no one had opened it in years. Rachel felt a chill. She approached cautiously, instincts on high alert. Her hand hovered over the cold brass handle. Who would even have access to this door? She whispered to herself. Then she heard it. A faint, deliberate knocking from inside, soft enough that she almost thought she imagined it. "Hello," she called, her voice barely breaking the silence. Her words seemed to echo off the walls, making her heart race. The knocking stopped, replaced by a voice, low and urgent. "Please, don't call anyone. Just listen." Her pulse quickened. The voice was calm, but carried a weight of desperation. Rachel froze, torn between fear and curiosity. She had trained for emergencies, for intruders and fire alarms, but nothing had prepared her for a voice like this, emanating from a place that shouldn't exist. "Who's there?" she asked again, trying to steady her trembling hands. "My name is David Carter," the voice replied. I need your help. Please, if you open the door, you'll see the truth they've hidden for decades." Rachel's mind raced. She had heard rumors of hidden rooms in the library, secret archives containing lost manuscripts or forbidden texts, but a person trapped inside? That was something else entirely. "Why are you in there?" she asked, her curiosity stronger than fear now. "This place is locked after hours. They put me here. I can't leave on my own. You have to trust me. If you take the key from my pocket, you'll uncover what no one else has ever seen," the voice pleaded. Rachel's rational mind screamed at her to ignore it, to call the police, to leave immediately. But another part of her, the part that had grown up reading mystery novels, solving riddles, and exploring abandoned places, refused to walk away. A sudden clatter echoed from the hall outside, making her jump. Footsteps. Someone was approaching. She stepped back, her hand still on the handle. The library's silence had shifted into something oppressive, almost watchful. "The choice is yours," David whispered, the urgency in his voice making Rachel's stomach twist. "Save yourself, or discover the secret. But once you open the door, there's no going back." Rachel's heart pounded. Her instincts screamed to flee, but the sense of curiosity and responsibility pulled her forward. Slowly, cautiously, she turned the handle. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit room lined with ancient bookshelves. In the center, behind a thick velvet curtain, was a small, reinforced vault with a combination lock and a faint glow emanating from inside. Rachel glanced back toward the main hall, debating whether she was making a colossal mistake. And then she heard David's voice again. "Rachel, it's all in your hands now. The key, the combination, the truth, they're all here. You can't imagine what's waiting." The room was thick with dust, silence, and secrets. Rachel's hand shook as she reached into the pocket of a coat hanging nearby. There, folded carefully, was a small brass key and a note written in a hurried, precise hand. "Use this wisely. They are watching." Her breath caught. Who were they? What had David gotten himself into? And most importantly, what would she discover when the vault finally opened? The footsteps outside grew louder. Rachel had only seconds to decide. Her hand gripped the key tighter, her mind racing through possibilities. Would this be a discovery that made her a hero, or a mistake that could cost her everything? She took a deep breath, turned the key, and felt the lock click open. The door to the vault swung slowly inward, revealing a room that seemed ordinary at first glance. But something about it felt alive, almost sentient. Rows of old manuscripts, boxes of documents, and at the far end, a metal safe with an intricate lock waited silently. Rachel's eyes widened. The safe seemed to hum with importance, as if it held the culmination of decades of secrets. She knew, instinctively, that whatever was inside could change her life, and the life of the man behind this door, forever. What she didn't know yet was that opening that safe would not just reveal hidden papers or forgotten treasures. It would uncover truths about trust, betrayal, and sacrifices that no one had dared speak about for decades. And it would force Rachel to make a choice that would test the very core of her integrity, courage, and morality. The hidden vault of the library was no longer just a mystery. It was a story waiting to be told, a secret begging to be revealed. And Rachel Moore had just stepped inside. Rachel's heart was racing as she stepped fully into the hidden room. The faint glow from the corners reflected off the polished metal of the safe, making it look almost alive. Every instinct told her to pause, to reconsider, but curiosity had her frozen in place. She glanced toward the shadows at the far end, half expecting to see David emerge, but the room was empty. Only the safe awaited her. She crouched closer, examining the intricate lock. Its design was old-fashioned but precise, with an engraved combination dial that seemed almost ceremonial. The note in her hand read, "Use this wisely. They are watching." She wondered who they were. Was it the library's board? Some clandestine organization? Or something far more dangerous? The possibilities made her stomach churn. Taking a deep breath, Rachel inserted the brass key she had found. The key slid in smoothly, and with a tentative turn, she felt the lock click. The combination dial now seemed ready. Her hands were shaking as she entered the numbers written on the note. 1, 2, 3, 4. A soft, metallic click echoed through the room, followed by the subtle hiss of the safe door opening. She froze, holding her breath. Inside was a stack of aged folders, sealed envelopes, and an ancient journal. The smell of old paper mixed with a faint metallic tang that made her senses tingle. She carefully lifted the journal. Its cover was worn, leather cracked with age, but the handwriting inside was meticulous. Each page contained names, dates, and events that Rachel couldn't yet comprehend. But it was clear that the journal chronicled decades of hidden truths about the library, its founders, and a secret they had been guarding fiercely. As she flipped through the pages, she realized this wasn't just a collection of historical records. Some of the entries detailed hidden funding, secret donations, and incidents that had been erased from official records. Others were darker, whispers of betrayals, cover-ups, and people who had vanished under mysterious circumstances. Rachel's hands trembled as she read, the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. Whoever David was, he had trusted her with something monumental. Suddenly, a faint sound behind her made Rachel jump. A shadow moved across the room, light footsteps echoing softly on the polished floor. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. There was no reply. The room seemed to hold its breath. She turned back to the safe and noticed a small envelope at the very bottom. It was unmarked except for one word scrawled in bold letters. Truth. Rachel hesitated. She knew that opening this envelope could reveal the most dangerous secret of all, yet the compulsion to know was irresistible. She carefully pulled out the papers inside, and her eyes widened. Photographs, documents, and letters detailed a scandal that spanned decades, a conspiracy that involved the city's elite, hidden treasures, and people who had been manipulated or silenced to protect a single secret. The more she read, the more she understood the stakes. This was no ordinary secret. It was a revelation that could topple reputations, dismantle legacies, and change the lives of countless people. Rachel's mind raced. She thought about the library, the silent nights, and the ordinary exterior that masked such profound danger. And she thought about David. Who had he been hiding from? And why had he chosen her, a young night shift librarian, to uncover this truth? Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden knock at the hidden door. Rachel froze, her heart leaping into her throat. The knocking came again, louder, more insistent. "Rachel, open up. It's the security team." A voice called. Panic surged. If anyone discovered the vault before she could understand it fully, the consequences could be catastrophic. She had to act quickly. She tucked the journal and documents into her bag, keeping the envelope marked "Truth" safe at the bottom. But as she moved toward the door, a cold breeze swept through the room, carrying with it a faint whisper. You can't hide from what comes next. Rachel's blood ran cold. Was it the wind? Her imagination? Or a warning from someone? Or something? Watching her every move? Carefully, she opened the door and peeked into the hallway. The corridor was empty. The security alarms had not been triggered, and the building remained eerily silent. Rachel exhaled slowly, realizing she had a moment, maybe just a few minutes, to process what she had found. She stepped out and closed the door gently, hoping she hadn't left any trace that could alert the outside world. As she made her way back toward the main desk, she wondered how she could reveal the truth without putting herself, or David, at risk. Each step echoed, and every shadow seemed alive, as if the library itself was aware of her discovery. Her mind raced with possibilities. Should she confront the authorities, alert the media, or try to track down David for guidance? The responsibility of knowing such sensitive information weighed heavily on her shoulders. Reaching her workstation, Rachel set down the journal and glanced around the dimly lit room. A part of her wanted to close the library doors for good, pretend nothing had happened, and go back to the safety of normalcy. But another part, the part that had always been drawn to mysteries and the unknown, knew she couldn't ignore what she had uncovered. The library was more than a place of knowledge. It was a labyrinth of secrets, and she had just stepped into its deepest chamber. Then, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "They know you found it. Be careful. Meet me at the fountain at midnight if you want to understand everything." Rachel stared at the screen, the implications of the message sinking in. Someone else knew, and someone else wanted to guide her, or test her. Her heart pounded. She realized that the night was far from over, and what began as a routine shift had now turned into a dangerous game of trust, discovery, and survival. Rachel's hand tightened around the journal, her eyes darting around the silent, shadowed library. The vault had revealed its secrets, but the true challenge, the one that could put her life in jeopardy, was only beginning. Would Rachel meet the mysterious guide? Could she uncover the ultimate truth without becoming a target herself? And what else lay hidden in the depths of the library, waiting for someone brave or reckless enough to find it? One thing was certain. After tonight, Rachel Moore would never see the library, or the world, the same way again. Midnight approached, and Rachel's mind raced with questions. Who had sent her the cryptic message? And more importantly, could she trust them? Clutching the journal and the envelope labeled Truth, she left the safety of the library and stepped into the cool night air. The city streets were silent, save for the occasional distant car. Every shadow seemed to stretch and shift with a life of its own. She approached the fountain mentioned in the message, its waters glimmering under the faint glow of street lamps. A figure stood by the edge, a tall silhouette, patient, watching. Rachel's pulse quickened. "Who are you?" she called, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. The figure stepped forward. It was David, not the elderly librarian she had expected, but a man in his 40s, wearing a simple dark coat. His eyes held a mixture of relief and warning. "You found it," he said softly. "You went farther than anyone ever has." Rachel swallowed. "What is all this? Why all the secrecy?" David gestured toward the envelope she carried. "The library isn't just a place of books. It was built on secrets, legacies, fortunes, and even crimes that the city wanted buried. That vault, it's only the beginning. Inside that envelope is the key to understanding the full story, but it comes with a choice." Rachel's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were documents that detailed the hidden dealings of the library's founders, maps of secret passages beneath the city, and evidence of long-forgotten schemes that could topple powerful people if exposed. Her eyes widened. This is huge. People could go to jail. Lives could be ruined. David nodded gravely. "Yes, and that's why I need your discretion. You've proven yourself brave and trustworthy. But there are others, people who would kill to get this information. You're not just discovering history, you're now part of it." Rachel felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. All those quiet nights, the endless organizing of books, the monotonous shifts, it had all led to this. She realized that she was no longer a passive observer of the library's mysteries. She had become an active participant in something far larger than herself. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the shadows. Two figures emerged, their features obscured by the dim light. Rachel's heart leaped into her throat. "Who?" "They followed you," David said sharply. "We don't have much time." He grabbed her arm and pulled her behind a stone column. The strangers paused near the fountain, their eyes scanning, searching. Rachel could feel the tension, the danger lurking in the night. David leaned close. There's a passage beneath the fountain. It leads to a secure chamber. We can hide and examine the rest of the documents safely. Together, they moved stealthily, descending into the hidden tunnel. The walls were damp, the air thick with the scent of earth and stone. As they reached the chamber, Rachel finally allowed herself to breathe. The room was lined with old shelves, more hidden documents, and artifacts that had been carefully stored for decades. It was a treasure trove of secrets. David turned to her. Now you see why I trusted you. You have the courage and the mind to handle this. But there's one final step, a choice only you can make. Do we reveal everything to the public, risking chaos? Or do we protect the secrets, letting history remain hidden, but safe? Rachel's mind spun. The power in her hands was enormous. She could expose corruption, reveal hidden truths, and make history right, or preserve peace and protect lives. The journal in her bag reminded her that knowledge, though powerful, could be dangerous if wielded without care. She looked at David, whose expression mirrored her own mix of fear and resolve. We have to be careful, she said finally. But the truth, people deserve to know the truth. David nodded. Then we do it together. As they began to organize the documents, plotting a way to release the information safely, Rachel felt a strange mixture of exhilaration and fear. She was no longer just a librarian. She was a guardian of secrets, a keeper of history, and a witness to truths that had been buried for decades. Outside, the night was quiet once more, but Rachel knew it was a fragile piece. Once the secrets of the library were revealed, nothing would ever be the same. Not for her, not for David, and certainly not for the city itself. Yet for the first time, she felt alive, purposeful, and unstoppable. She realized that bravery wasn't just about confronting danger. It was about making choices when the stakes were impossibly high, about embracing responsibility, and about daring to face the unknown. And as the first light of dawn began to touch the horizon, Rachel and David prepared to step back into the world above, carrying the power of the library's secrets with them. It was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for the city, not just for the library, but for Rachel herself. The vault had been opened, the truth revealed, and the consequences were only just beginning.